I'm Zoe Delahunty-Light, and yes, I love Blaidd. We all do. He's Rani's stalwart, shadowbound vassal, devoted protector, and childhood friend. But, despite his popularity, we know precious little about the half-wolf warrior. I've scrounged as much information up about him as possible from Elden Ring to bring you this lore video, so if you want to know about Blaidd's origins, what actually happens to him at the end of Elden Ring, and everything in between, stick around, friend. Blaidd was born for one purpose and one purpose only: to be a constant presence at Rani's side, the Carian princess and daughter of Radagon and Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. Born is possibly even stretching the circumstances of his arrival a bit, as there's no signs he had a birth as such, as he was created by the Two Fingers with a single purpose: to serve. So why is Blaidd half-wolf? This goes back to the Empyreans themselves, those who have the potential to become a god of the coming age once Marika dies. Vagram, the Raging Wolf, one of the first Tarnished to visit Roundtable Hold, gives us a clue about why Blaidd was specifically created to be half canine. According to the Raging Wolf helm that Vagram wears, old legends say that wolves are the shadows of the Empyrean. Malekith of the Black Blade, Marika's shadowbound vassal, also takes the form of a wolf, so it seems like the Greater Will simply decided long ago that wolves made the best protectors. Unlike Malekith, however, Blaidd is half wolf and half man. Now, I can't be sure whether Blaidd appeared as an infant or a fully grown warrior, but I'm gonna go for the latter, as an infant wouldn't exactly be an effective protector for Rani. Rani was made Empyrean in her childhood when her father, Radagon, married Queen Marika the Eternal, so it does make sense that she should have an adult protector. Despite Rani's young age, she wasn't scared by Blaidd. Iggy tells us that Blaidd and Rani played like siblings from childhood. In cut dialogue, Renala, in her second boss phase, even calls Blaidd her child, showing how Blaidd was considered a member of the Carian family. A mistranslation of the Japanese text describes Blaidd as a stepbrother to Rani, which can be confusing, but a Redditor clarified that the original Japanese meaning of the translated term is someone who pledges to be as close to you as a brother or sister would be, but isn't actually blood related. Queen Renala approved of Blaidd, Iggy goes on to say, so by all signs, Blaidd found a loving home with the family. So beloved were those memories that Iggy says neither him, Rani or Blaidd will ever forget their earliest days together. His bond with the half-wolf is clear, with him even beseeching you to look after Blaidd once Rani is gone. Oh my god, it's so tragic. Also, I can't find where to fit this in, so I'm going to pull it here. It looks like Rani and Blaidd are both wearing a cape made out of the same material. Blaidd wore his to stay warm despite the cold emanating from his Carian greatsword. The reason the Carian greatsword emanated cold is because once Blaidd swore his oath to protect Rani, and Rani only, his greatsword was imbued with cold to commemorate his pledge. The Carians have an ice princess in their ancestry, so that does make sense. Rani's doll body is dressed to resemble the snow witch that taught her about the dark moon, so the pair sharing the same cloak is probably practical in some way, but I also like to see it as a sign of their affection for each other. Kind of like a best friend heart necklace split in two. Like I said, we don't know a lot about Blaidd's past. However, pay attention to how he talks, and I think you can make a couple of educated guesses about his loves outside of Rani. Frequent mentions of curtains rising and final acts can be found in his dialogue. Along with the narrative, literary way he frames himself as helping Rani's destiny unfold, it comes across that Blaidd is fond of fairy tales, legends, and the theatre. Otherwise, how else would he know those specific phrases and metaphors? I like the idea of Blaidd being an avid consumer of the arts, so that's the interpretation I'm going with. When we first meet Blaidd, he has it out for a Bloodhound Knight named Darriwil. This is a bit of his past that we do know about in a fair amount of detail. Bloodhound Knights are a fascinating sort. Trained as hunters and known to be unshakable trackers, they don't speak yet choose their own liege and, once chosen, usually stay loyal for life. Not Darriwil, though. It's heavily suggested that Darriwil once served Rani, just like Blaidd, but ended up betraying her, thus branded a traitor by Blaidd. I can safely assume this because in Phase 2 of Renala's boss fight, when you enter Rani's pocket realm that acts as a kind of safeguard for her mother, she summons a series of, well, summons. There's a pack of wolves, a troll, a dragon, and a Bloodhound Knight. These summons are all symbolic of Rani's loyal court. Blaidd is the wolves, Iji is the troll, Adula the glintstone dragon is the dragon, and then you have the Bloodhound Knight, Darriwil. His very presence there heavily implies that like Blaidd, Iji, and Adula, he used to be loyal to Rani. I'm not sure what happened to make him turn on his lady, possibly her turning on the two fingers. Bloodhound Knight Flo vowed to only serve a true king and so never found a master, so the same principle could apply to Darriwil. Perhaps he swore loyalty to the Empyrean two-finger blessed Rani, so when she turned on the two fingers, his oath was void. Whatever the reason, Darriwil became a forlorn and masterless Bloodhound Knight, trapped within the Everjail. And Blaidd swore to hunt him down and, quote, end his tale, another theatric phrase from our beloved Wolfman. Maybe it was this betrayal that turned Blaidd into what Iji calls a guarded soul. This reserved nature of his results in Blaidd holding judgment of people like the Tarnished and Sorcerer Seluvis until he sees their character fully realised, meaning he ends up befriending the Tarnished, but calls Seluvis, another of Rani's followers, a spiteful little rat. He's not wrong, though. The bond between Rani and Blaidd was strong enough for the two fingers to use it against her. The Baleful Shadow you're sent to hunt by Rani is a Black Knife assassin in the guise of Blaidd. Now, I can't be certain of this, but if I were trying to rattle my enemy, making their assassin resemble their confidant would be a cold, but very effective way to distress them. So, the bond between Blaidd and Rani is mutual, but not equal, as we find out at the closing curtain of Blaidd's quest. Upon Rani slaying the Two Fingers and abandoning her doll body, the precursor to you becoming her Elden Lord in the Age of Stars ending, Blaidd loses his mind. There are two key reasons why this happens. First, unlike Iji, Blaidd doesn't wear a mirror helm. The mirror helm, invented by the Nox, who are a whole other thing that I won't explain right now, wards off the intervention of the Greater Will and its vassal fingers. Because Blaidd doesn't wear a mirror helm, and to be honest probably couldn't fit in one due to that muzzle of his, there's nothing preventing the Two Fingers from worming their way into his mind. This, combined with his other half, the Empyrean Rani, leaving his plane of existence, fractures Blaidd's sense of self. As he was created for a single purpose, for Rani only, without her, he's kind of at a loose end in the worst way. His last words are,
I'm part of her very being. I can never betray her.
As if the Two Fingers are trying to control him, but in the end, the Two Fingers meddling turns him feral. Iji gives us more context about why Blaidd turns from being a friendly, loyal companion into a traitor just like Darriwil. Iji explains that as Rani resisted being an instrument of the Two Fingers, her shadow Blaidd went mad, transforming from a follower into a horrid curse. This is something which Blaidd's own thoughts held no weight over. He didn't have a chance or a choice. His connection with Rani means he'd be able to hunt her down, so Iji advises the Tarnished to put him out of his misery for his own sake. The Greater Will, in effect, built a failsafe into Blaidd. Should Rani unequivocally turn against the Outer God, Blaidd, often found at her side and linked to her very being, would slay her. I just don't think they realised quite how incorporeal Rani would eventually become once she got rid of her Empyrean flesh during the Night of the Black Knives. Rest in peace, Blaidd. And that's the lore and origins of Blaidd the Half Wolf. Yeah, I'm now sad too. If you've somehow not yet got your fill of Elden Ring lore, check out the pinned comment where you'll find my Elden Ring lore playlist. Do you have any other characters or events you're curious about and would like me to cover? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, thanks very much, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Eurogamer as we have a new video out every single day. Now, I'm going to go and fight alongside Blaidd against Radahn in Journey 2 to relive those good old days, so I'll see you next time.